Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? All right, I do have my mic. I'm still looking at a black screen, so just bear with me for 1 second so I can verify. I'm actually seeing a regular screen. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I see myself. So for okay, yeah, so I see myself. Okay. So for some reason, I'm still black, but I'm going to go because I can see myself. So I know that's working. I just will have to get used to not seeing myself till I can maybe take this to Best Buy or somewhere to try to figure out what happened. Now, the audio didn't work the first time. It works now. So we will go with it. All right. So, hello, everybody. How's everybody today? I am fine. Um, call for a job yesterday. Who knows? You're submitted. I don't know if anybody's hiring. I know there's a recession and there's a recession, but apparently nobody else does. All right. So, what are we talking about? I was watching Thomas, what's his name? Not Thomas Howell. Thomas Sowell, I was watching. And it was a really good show. He did it on Woke America. So it's like right here. Well, it's hard. I can't tell. So he does it on Woke America. This is the Thomas Sowell channel. Very conservative type of fellow. So he answers a lot of questions about where did woke come from, right? The origins of woke. And this is really a good thing for us because I think it helps us understand what a lot of our issues are. Anyway. So the page is accessing my camera, but I can't see it. All right. So the question is, where did woke come from? And it really starts in the 1960s. The number one role of the government is to be needed. The number one role of most things is to not be needed. The things run themselves, right? If you're running a business, you set it up, it runs itself. That's the best business to run. But the government can't run like that because it has to be needed. So the government does all it can to be needed, which is so they come up with things. They try to be smarter than us. They try to come up with things that make them needed. You need us. And that's where the government pops in and tries to do that kind of stuff. So they'll come up with different, they'll create things like, oh, you need public schools, you need welfare, you need, we need a, whatchamacallit, a minimum wage. It doesn't work, but they'll look what we're doing for you, or look how we're helping you. And it's just to get the vote, and it's to be needed, basically. So that's really where woke came from. it's trying to divide the rich and the poor, which is ridiculous. The whole thing doesn't really make sense. Um, so anyway, that's what we have, right? Right. Okay, I'm just checking my. I'm checking. It looks a little dark. I'm checking that out, but it looks good. Okay, so that's what woke's all about. Is we're smarter than you, and I say a lot here. Do you trust? Are you comfortable and trust the people that are helping you? And that's sort of like what it is. So you go to your financial advisor. Are you comfortable with them? Do you trust them? Do you ask them questions to get the trust? So in other words, if I go to a financial advisor, I would go there as a knowing what I need to know and not really trusting him unless I get the right answer. So my question, so would I be comfortable? I'd be, I would not be comfortable with very many financial advisors or stockbrokers because I think they're just trying to sell me. They're not really there to help me. They're there for their commission. So from that standpoint, you have to test them. And this works with women. It works in poker. Anything that is comfortable and trust, it works. So you create a test. So a girl will test us. Can you pick me up? Cigarettes, or can you pick me up? Uh, you know, I need a ride somewhere or something where they need something. Can you go to the grocery store? You happen to be out. Can you pick me up some milk? So they're testing you, right? Is he going to do what I need? And that's what you do with your broker. So you go to this broker and he goes, I buy, like I went to one when I was before my master's and I said, well, how do you pick stocks? And I had an idea. And he just shows me a Pepsi chart. And see, look, it just goes up. And I'm saying, I don't want a lot of risk. I just want to make some money. And now I would go to him with what I would know. And this is what you should do. So the first thing is you sit down at Merrill Lynch or whoever, Goldman Sachs, and you talk to the guy, like a Tack on Wall Street guy. And you say, well, I'm looking, I just want to make money, but I don't want to have a lot of risk where I lose money. And he'd put you into ABC, real estate trust or stocks or whatever. I'll put you in Amazon, Apple. And my question to him to see if he was in it for me or in it for him is, what do you think of gold? That's your trust question. If he says, oh, gold doesn't do anything, you don't want to be in that, you get up and leave. He's not on your side, he's on his side, which is what we think anyway. Now, there could be some that actually we can trust. So what would happen is, if it was me you asked the question to, which is what happens here, right? So if you're asking me the question, what do? I go and I sit there and say, you want to buy gold. Gold is the thing. But if I'm a stockbroker, I don't get commission for it. So if I don't get commission for it, I'm not going to put you in it. Plus, the Home Alone guy doesn't want you selling gold because he doesn't get commission on it. He only gets commission in the real estate fund or whatever, right? That's where they make the commission. So they're going to want you to put their clients in commission and stuff they make commission on. It's sort of like the special when at a restaurant, the waitress will give you the specials. You don't care about the specials. I'm there for the chicken. And she's giving you the specials and you don't care about it. So with that said, you're talking to the broker financial advisor, and if he doesn't mention gold, and he doesn't mention gold has no risk because they can't print it, and he doesn't mention the dollar's in deep trouble because of the debt, if he doesn't answer those questions, then either he's incredibly stupid and doesn't know of which way, so why would you want to listen to him, or he's just trying to lead you away from that because all he cares about is the commission. But that's how you not trap them, but that's how you get to the bottom of it. You want to know all this stuff. See, this is what the woke is, right? The woke is you don't need to know anything. Just ask us. Ask the government. Ask this. Ask that. When the elite, we're smarter than you. We'll tell you what to do. We've got you in this Ukraine war, and we've got you in this Israel war, and it's like, what are you doing? Or we'll print money. We don't need to back it by gold, and we're smarter than you. And then me and us think, well, no, you're not. We don't want the dollar going to zero. We want a gold-backed currency because you guys are running it into the ground. You're stealing all our money. You're creating bubbles all over with all these dollars going into it. So then we have the Bitcoin people. What are they saying? It's the same Ponzi scheme. Stay in Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. And, it's like gold, and it's to get out of money. It doesn't work, but they won't tell you that, right? You need somebody like me to say, you don't want to be in Bitcoin. Now you're educated and you understand why, because as I said yesterday, it only works in the Bitcoin casino. So as I said, this only works at Caesars. Yes, it's an asset. It's worth $5, but it only works at Caesars. Apologize, I can't see my screen, so I'm putting it up near the lens, so you should be able to see it. But this is worth $5, like a Bitcoin's worth whatever. However, it's only worth it at Caesars. I can't go to McDonald's with this. Maybe in Vegas I can. Maybe they would take it, and then they'd have to run to Caesars to cash it. I don't know. But Bitcoin, where do I can't cash it anywhere, right? I can't. It has no value at McDonald's, right? It has no value at Toyota. It has no value at Costco. So it's only good in its own casino, but they won't. You never hear these guys say, oh, it's owned to $1 million, never sell it. That, of course, because that's the Ponzi scheme. If you sell it, it goes down. So we want you to never sell it, and the price will go up, and then we'll sell it, and then it'll be worthless, and you'll be holding it going, I thought I wasn't supposed to sell it, because you don't know what's going on. So the whole structure of the woke is that you won't learn yourself, and you won't teach yourself how to learn, and you won't question it. I mean, what do I hear? Bobby and Greg and John, where did you learn it from? I never learned that. The girl from Odessa, Natasha's friend, where did you? I keep trying to learn about gold, and she's got the right idea, and I can't find anything on it. Yeah, because they've taken it off because they don't want you to learn it. But you want to be an independent thinker. You want to learn, and that's what I'm doing, is teaching you. And then you ask questions. I don't understand this or that, Howard. And then we clean that up. But you want to be your own thought process. You want to be your own guy, your own, when you invest, you're the financial manager of yourself. Like, I don't go to anybody for help on where do I invest. It's my investment portfolio. It's 99% gold and silver, but I understand why. And then, of course, 1% Mahomes card. So I understand the 99% in gold. Why I'm in gold? Because the dollar's worthless. And if the dollar's worthless, the gold will be the only way out. See, now Egon says, well, it's protection. It's like fire insurance. And I don't look at it that way. See, I'm not going to just listen to Egon and say, oh, Egon knows, so I don't have to. Now, from what I know we can trust Egon and we can trust Mark McGuire fairly, fairly much. And I steer you away from Rickards and Peter Schiff and those guys. We can't trust them. We can kind of trust Mark McGuire and Egon more. They make sense, although there's a few things that they don't get either. But I get them, so I know when I'm listening if we can listen to them or not. But that's really the problem with it's the problem with people is this is what I try to explain is who do you listen to? Who do you trust? And you want to really trust yourself. But how do you learn it? So that's what I'm trying to do is teach you how to learn and then to learn our finance and economics. And then you don't need to trust Madoff or even a Madoff person. So if your cousin's in Madoff, like I said, my brother-in-law is a rich doctor and he's in Madoff. I just laughed. I basically laughed at, I'm getting 15%. I go, how? I got my master's in economics and finance. And I know if the rates are 3%, maybe you get 5 or 6 in a real estate trust. And that was it. And that's the bottom line. There's no 15% anywhere. Oh yeah, it's trust in the strip malls, right? And that's where you're supposedly getting the higher rate. Now I am comfortable with my brother-in-law. I trust him as a doctor, but I do not trust him. I don't trust who he's talking to. And because I know what I know, I wasn't going to get baited into investing in it, right? That wasn't going to happen. So I didn't. And that's really what you need to get to. It's sort of like football, right? So we could go to football too. Well, let's finish with the finance. Then we'll go to football. So you understand the dollars going out, right? That's the first concept. This is worthless, right? You understand this has no value, right? It's printed and printed and printed, and there's 20 trillion of these out in the US alone, and either 200 or 300 trillion worldwide, plus all these derivatives. So there's a lot of paper crap out there, and it can't have a value because it's paper. So we understand that first and foremost. So if you understand money, you know I got to get out of money. So my first thought when Biden got in office and started printing, and I hear, he just printed $10 trillion, and he's doing 10 trillion on this and a trillion on this. And before I knew it, it was a 20 trillion. And I knew that was bad news for the money, because I know the first lesson I know is if you print a lot, it's worthless. If you get a 50 count, it's good. But if you get if this at 5,000 count, it would be okay, but not worth that much. But if it's not numbered, then it's worth very little. So I understood that from sports cards, but I also from economics. So I know, wait a minute, we want limited things. Well, the money, 20 trillion in the US is not limited. So I know that has no value. And so I'm searching around going, well, what do I do? So that's the problem, right? But I learned that. I learned you want small amounts. I know I don't want to listen to anybody if I can learn it myself. As you see in my football and everything else, I learn it, right? I figure it out. And then that's why I do so well, because I can figure out how to bet football, not with statistics, a little statistics, but mostly just understanding the game. And that way I can't be talked into something by, I heard it on ESPN or something. And, so I'm going to bet it because Joe Blow said to bet it. So it's the same thing with money. Once we understand that the problem is too much being printed, then we get out, then our thought is that how do we get out? And where do we go? What is the alternative? But realizing that all the money was not gold back and all the money is trillions of dollars, we then said, well, I can't go to euros. I can't go to Swiss francs, British pounds, won, rubles, yen. There's nothing to go to because it's all fiat, right? This is also bullshit, right? This is way overprinted, worthless. If I had a Swiss franc, same thing. So then it became the concept of the 50 count Mahomes card. What do I do? Where do I find that? Right. So I found it knowing that it's going to hold its value because it's limited. And that's the key, right? So how do I do with my money? What is the key? But I understand it. The key is limited. And then the only thing limited is gold and silver, not the dollar. So if I know gold and silver is the limited part, then I don't, I know that's where I need to go. And then there's gold and silver. And for some miracle, you've got Comex keeping the price low for you. So I don't bitch, why isn't the price higher now? I know it's going higher. But I'm like, oh, good, I can buy more. It's on sale. I would go to the gold store, 3 years ago, and I'd be like, oh, you're having a sale on gold. It's only 1,700 or something. Because it would go down from 18 to 17, and I can't understand why it's going down. And then I understood it was Comex. And so I'm sitting there going, why did it go down? And realizing it wasn't market, then I knew to buy it. I knew, oh, okay, in reality, it can't go down. And then I learned about paper gold and physical. So I know I'm buying this gold dirt cheap, and it's the only out because it's limited. But I learned that, right? I didn't listen. Well, I mean, I got taught it, but it was a economics teacher in a master's program. So, and it made sense. So that's why you got to be careful. Half these guys, this Matt Puffenberg, who is Egon's partner, he's a Keynesian. I don't listen to him. I listen to Egon, but I don't listen to him. So you got to be careful who you're listening to, right? That's the most important thing. And once you understand that, you're the one who, at the end of the day, has to live with the decision you made. Attack on Wall Street guy loses 60 grand, has to live with it was his fault for listening to the guy. At the end of the day, the guy says, why don't you buy these real estate trusts? And he said, yes, I want no risk, and I get 8 to 10% back. So he's all like, okay, let's do that. And in reality, that's his fault for listening. He didn't listen to the right guy. He didn't come to a guy like me who would have said, no, Attack on Wall Street guy, you want to be in gold and silver if you don't want risk. And it's going to go up because it's really cheap. And back then it was 2000 and let's say 6, it was only a few $100s. You can't lose. And it was going. And then I was listening to Egon yesterday, and gold went from $37 to $800 in the late 70s when there was the inflation because we got off the gold standard. And then it went back down to like 200. And it was all Comex. They wanted to keep the price down because everybody would have turned their gold back in. So all these people, all these other countries who the point of the I don't know what the hell is it called. Jesus, I can't think of it. Anyway, the gold standard that we use from 45, Bretton Woods. Sorry about that. So the Bretton Woods, all the countries then said, we'll take the U.S. as the reserve currency because it's backed by the gold. So all the countries dealt in U.S. dollars backed by gold. But when the U.S. went off of it in 71, everybody wanted to get out of the dollar because they said, this is ridiculous. It's not backed by gold anymore. We're going to get screwed. So they knew that's coming. The only reason they were with it is because of the gold. So what happens then? As gold starts going up, everybody starts selling, buying the gold, which forced the gold up to 800. So then here comes comex to lower the price to 200. So if people want to sell their currency to get the gold, it's only 200. And that is the whole point of comex, was that it was like, well, that'll kill the incentive of the other countries uh, to buy the gold and get out of our dollar. So for 800, yeah, for 200, no. And then that's why they keep it low. Now, why they keep it low now, I have no idea. I think it's sort of like, there's a movie called Kelly's Heroes, and the guys, they're in the towns and they're trying to rob gold from a bank, actually. And they send the guys in to make noise so the tank can come in, and they're ringing the church bells. And then they finally roll in, and they go, okay, they know we're here already. You can stop ringing the bell. And that's what I feel like. Like, we know the dollar's gone. You can stop with the comex. So as I stumbled into gold, because I realized it's the only safe place, I should have stumbled into it. Ideally in 72, I should have stumbled into it. But certainly in 95, I did stumble into it with this. Because once you take the dollar and it's not backed by anything, so this is a lesson you teach your kids. The dollar is not backed by anything. It's going to go to zero by gold. And now I think what's going to happen is all the central banks are buying gold. We're all buying gold. Everybody's buying gold. As these currencies go out, there's not going to be a lot of gold to buy, and it's going to be very expensive. So I don't know if our kids, it's whatever I leave my kids, is how they're going to get it. They're not going to get it. They're not going to be able to go to the coin store and get it for 18, 19, 2000. It'll be 20, whatever the currency will be is what it'll be. But if it's gold-backed currency, then they'll just get the gold that way. But that's the lesson learned that you now know is anytime the dollar's not backed by gold, it's worthless. Right away, 1971, Nixon pulls this off. Guess what? The dollar's worthless. You could have bought all these gold at 37 an ounce. Now, keep in mind, the dollar was worth a lot back then. So as I said, you get a Pepsi, it only costs you a dime. So you didn't have a lot of money, right? A car was $4,000. So it's not like you had what you had. You're not making 100 grand and you could have bought all this gold. You're probably making 10 grand or 15 grand as an accountant or wherever you're working at. And so you could have still bought 10 ounces of gold, but not, as much as we can now. But that would have been the idea, is to keep buying gold at 37 an ounce. And now it's at 2,000, which is still not a real price. But the bottom line is you understand that now. You can defend it. When you see a guy at the club and you tell him to buy gold, you can do that. I kind of saw the guy today, but I was coming and he was leaving. So I was curious if he'd come over to me, and he didn't. So I just kept walking to the bike. I do the bike and then I do the pool. So the point is, you need to know that kind of stuff, because finance is such a key thing and money is such a key thing. That's how we survive. That's why it's so important. But you've got to know it, because you don't know who you can trust. You don't get the reason and the rationale. They want the commissions from you. They don't care that you make money. I care you make money, because I'm personally responsible to make you money. There's nothing in it for me. It's just that you learn. Sort of like Batman, right? He helps the people of Gotham. There's nothing in it for him, but he helps, he helps the people from the criminals. And that's kind of what I'm doing. So I've always been a Batman fan. So I'm helping you from the Madoffs and the Bitcoiners and the banks and everything else, and the Wall Streets. So keep in mind, those are your players. That's the Titanic I talk about. It's Wall Street, it's the banks, it's Bitcoin. These are the Ponzi schemes, real estate trust. So you want to avoid them and get into gold and silver. There's really no argument, and it's a very basic, easy thing to do. Go buy physical gold and silver. You want to buy, if this is gold, you want to buy it and hold it and keep it. It can never go to zero. And it's a very simple thing. There's really no decision to make. It's just which one do I want to buy? And I'll tell you to buy Cougar Ants or Maple Leafs because they're cheaper than the Eagles. Yet they're cheaper than the Eagles, but an ounce of gold's an ounce of gold. So when gold hits 30,000 an ounce, it doesn't matter. They'll all be worth 30,000. Yeah, again, you might still, because we're in America, get a bigger boom, but you maybe not. Or maybe you go sell it in Switzerland or somewhere in Mexico or Canada. I wouldn't recommend Canada, but you don't have to sell it in the US or maybe in a different state. I'm in Michigan. There's no tax on it. And I know in some countries and states, they charge you a tax. And in Germany, I think there's a VAT tax that you pay if you buy silver or something. Anyway, so it's up to you to learn it. It's up to me to try to make it easy for you. So I'm trying to make it easy for you. So now you go to a financial planner. So you've got money. What do I do with it? And basically, you buy the gold and silver. Now you sell it when you need food or to pay expense. It'll just be a little of it. Sometimes you want to buy a house or car, you're just going to use the gold to do it, which is even easier. Then you don't get 1099 and you don't have to pay a mortgage and there's no interest rates. You just like, here, I'd like to buy this house. Here's an ounce of gold or 2 ounces of gold. The guy takes it, you own his house. No mortgage payments, nothing to worry about. He's got the gold. He's happy as hell. You got the house because you got the gold. So the more gold you have, the easier it is to spend a little of it and give to your kids and your wife and your girlfriends or whatever. So that's really you understanding what it is. And we explain what money is. This Bitcoin guy had no idea. I should show that to you. You'd laugh your ass off. Again, money is a medium of exchange. It's a store of purchasing power, and it's a unit of account. Did you make or lose? Like your bank account. And a medium of exchange is what everybody wants. That's why Bitcoin cannot be a medium of exchange or money. It's like saying, is this money? This is a Caesar's $5 chip from the casino. Is this money? And that's where I got off on the tangent yesterday. Only at Caesar's it's money. You can tip the waitresses with it. You can buy lunch and dinner with it. I'll be at the poker table and I'll order a burger and a Coke or whatever. And the guy brings it and I give him this. And they'll take the chips in the casino if you're at the poker table or probably at the food court. You can probably pay them with chips because it's their chips. So their money. They'll just go to the cashier because they get tips. Anybody that gets tips, the waitresses and the bar people and probably the food people, they'll take it because at the end of the night, they take their tips and cash them in. So again, you can't really call this money in the real world only at Caesar's. And that's how the Desert Inn's the same way, only at the Desert Inn. I can't take this to Caesar's, and I can't take this to the Desert Inn or Bellagio. But at Caesar's, it works. And that's how Bitcoin is. It only works inside Bitcoin. So you got to understand that concept. They kind of tell you, you're going to be rich. They're playing on you. They're playing you. You're going to be a millionaire if you hold on to Bitcoin. That's bullshit. You might be a millionaire in the Bitcoin casino, but you can't spend it. You can't go to Toyota and buy a car, Mercedes and buy a car. They're not going to take it. So it's only good in the casino. And because it's in dollars, when the dollar goes out, because they printed 20.7 trillion of them, when it goes out, which it will, then what's Bitcoin worth? Nothing. But they're not telling you that. They're not thinking ahead. I'm teaching you how to think ahead, right? So That's why I use the Titanic. So the boat hit the iceberg. Immediately you think, now what's going to happen next? Oh, the water's going to come in. Okay, then what's going to happen? Oh, we're going to sink because we're going to be full of water. Oh, so the solution is I got to get off the boat into a lifeboat. And that's how you do it. So the dollar's been printed. Now, okay, so what happens next? It loses value to zero. Okay, then what happens? Then it becomes worthless. And then you need the new dollar, which is the gold, which is the lifeboat. And so you're thinking fourth dimensionally. You're thinking, this happens, this happens, this happens. What do I do to save myself? And that's exactly what you do. And I think that's the whole point of what you're trying to do. Is that's how I want you to think. You're thinking for yourself. You're thinking analytically, which is great. That's what you should be doing. You should always be thinking like that, and not worrying. I don't want to go to other areas yet, but that's really what you want to think about, and especially with money, because it's yours and you really want to maintain it. So you don't want to, lose it. And that's what Egon's saying, and Mark McGuire. It's fire insurance. You're trying to, before the house burns down. So the house is going to burn down if I use their techniques. Mine is, I know it's going to be worthless. So how do you protect yourself from a worthless dollar? And that's really the point. So that's how you're trying to think. How do I protect? So the protection now is gold and silver. Oh, gold can go to zero. There's no way, because as we've talked about free market, if I sell the Mahomes card on eBay and there's a buyer, means there's a market. I put this out there. Bobby likes Mahomes. He gives me $5,000 for it because it's a 50 count. That's a market. Is it going to go to zero? No, because there's a buyer, because Bobby wants it. And then since it's only 50, it makes it attractive. And that'll draw in other people because they'll realize, oh, this is worth something because there's only 50 of them and it's Mahomes. So that automatically brings demand in. That's the marketing job. So when people take marketing jobs, that's the idea, is to make people look at it and want to buy it. And basically, I would say that Rolex does a great job of it, Mercedes, Ferrari. But then you have like De Beers, the diamond. They did a terrible job at it. They have a monopoly on it, but there's the only demands when you get married. Right. So you go get married, you buy your wife a diamond. That's the only time you're going to buy it for her. On the anniversary, you might buy her a ruby or a sapphire. You don't need to buy her a diamond. Or you might buy her a Rolex. I mean, but they do a bad job of creating demand for the diamonds. They really do. But that's what marketing is. So with gold, it's not being marketed as, oh, it can't be printed. See, that's the biggest thing with gold. It can't be printed. You can't print it. So therefore, it can't lose its value. And then you say, well, is there demand? And as we listened to Egon yesterday, or Alligator, or Mark McGuire, the guys who we trust, and they say, oh, yeah, it's all this demand. Silver, huge demand. Gold, huge demand. All the central banks are buying it, but it's different demand. Gold's demand is not for production, it's for insurance, right? All the central banks are buying it because they know the dollar has, 300 trillion in the world is going out. So they're trying to protect themselves with gold bars in their central banks. Okay. But not as much silver. Right. Silver is what they're doing with silver is more for production. Tesla's buying it for the batteries. India's buying it for their solar panels, or China or somebody. They need it for manufacturing. Now, it's still money, but it serves a dual purpose. So the demand's twice. It's once for us who want to protect ourselves, we're buying gold and silver, and to make batteries and solar panels and TVs and computers and phones. So it's all there. So that's really what silver is. So that's why silver is a little bit low, is because they're trying to keep it low for the production, for the manufacturing use, more for the money use, where gold is only the money use because you can't, it's too expensive to use. It probably would be the best thing for a battery, but you're not going to use it. It's too expensive. Silver is a very good thing too. It's like there's not a lot of substitutes for silver, but silver wears out. Gold never can. Gold's indestructible. So you've got this market out there, and so you realize, and that's why I dance out of the coin store. We are lucky as hell to to be able to buy gold at these low prices. Now people are frustrated. Oh, it's still 20. Okay, let's look at it today. I just did, but I'll look at it again because I enjoy looking at it. Even though I know this is the paper price. So this is the paper price of gold. It is as of about, here we go, 21.78, up $5. It got up to 2,200. And I love it, and I hope you can see it. And then it immediately goes down, 10 o'clock from 2,200 down all the way to 21.75. No explanation. So why did it go up at 4 in the morning to 6 in the morning? It goes all the way up to 2,200. And then here comes the U.S. or England selling the derivatives. So it's just funny. So it's a 21.78. And silver 24.43, and we all know it's ridiculous, but we get it and we understand why, and that's the whole point of it. Because we know, see, most people who don't know think, oh, it's at its high, I should sell it now. Buy low, sell high, I'm going to sell it. They don't know it's going to 20,000. They don't know why it's going to 20,000. They don't understand the dollar. They just assume the dollar's not going anywhere. And then you ask them, why do you think the Roman Empire went out? Because they took the gold and silver out of their coins and inflated their money. Why did Spain go out? Why did France go out? Why did England go out? They were the reserve currencies. They were number one, but they took the gold out and then printed the money to death, and it went out. Then they come out with new money. But as you can see, if they don't back it by gold, it's going to go out just the same way. And it really loses a lot of value. So now everything's against the dollar. But, I'm waiting for Russia to announce their gold black currency. And then I'll have Daria buy a bunch of gold back rubles with the dollar if I still can get a 90-to-1 change. But I don't know that I want to buy rubles like this. I think I want to buy I think that's the difference. We're getting out and it's cheap, but we realize it's cheap. We know this is not the right price because it's being held down by the derivatives of JP Morgan. So if we know that, we know this is a paper price, not a physical price. So we buy as much physical as we want because we're sitting there going, fine, this is perfect. And silver at 24, we know it's at least $1,000 an ounce thing in a little bit of time. Right now, I would, but they won't take Caesars and Bellagio everywhere or Bitcoin. So that's really what you want to do with it. So the dollar's going out. You see this, you get this great gold and silver price. We're so lucky that it's there, but we do get frustrated. Why isn't it going up? Well, they're still trying to manipulate it. They're still price fixing it. And I'm not quite sure why. And that's what Andrew McGuire and Alligator tell us, is that, well, they're still trying to keep the price down, but it's not going to take. That's why gold's going to blow up real soon. It's just, I think when they run out of it and they're almost out, then that's it, And the same thing with silver. They don't have any silver at comex. It's all sitting at the ETFs, I guess. I don't know how much they have in the ETFs, but as that goes to zero from the rest of the world buying it, then we'll get the real physical prices. Right now we're in paper prices. We understand it. We understand it's cheap is not real, so we buy it expecting the price to go up. And then it's just, Luke and Bobby, when is it going up? When is it going? And there's nothing you can really say. It's just, we don't really see the game. We're not seeing JP Morgan do all the derivatives to keep the price down. We know it's happening, but it's like the game, but it's not on TV, so we don't really know. We're not seeing the action, but we know what's happening. And then as we see, gold's now at 2180. It was 20. It was 2050. It was 21. It was 2150. It hit 22. Slowly back to 2180. But we're holding, and then it'll 22, it'll go 23. So it goes a little bit at a time. You can see it was 2150 all last week. Now it's 2180, holding pretty steady. And it's that 10 o'clock drop. Well, now it's 4 o'clock. Look for it to keep going. So we know that's going up. So we've learned it. So we don't need some stockbroker, financial advisor trying to tell us not to buy gold, to buy stocks. I showed you Egon yesterday. He said, well, the stock market's going to drop 95%, where gold's going to go up 95%. So I know people want to buy mining stocks, and I'm warning you, when the stock market crashes, so will the gold and silver stocks. They will all crash together. Because, okay, why is the stock market going to crash? Good question. Because all these foreigners with the 300 trillion minus the 21 trillion, so the $280 trillion that are outside of the U.S. in U.S. dollars, they'll realize it's worthless. And that's coming very soon, because all the de-dollarization talks, all these wars, Russia, Putin, China, all these people are Saudi Arabia. I don't want dollars anymore, and everybody's going to gold. And on May 14th, Russia's going to announce brics. It's going to announce gold-backed currency. So you got $275 trillion outside of the U.S. about to go home. They're going to say, I don't want it, and it's not. It's in stocks, it's in houses, it's in banks. So they're going to say, dump. I'm selling it, and I want my Japanese dollars, my Chinese dollars, my German, my French, my Italian, my, Asian, Korean, whatever it is, whatever countries have bought U.S. are all going to sell it. So they're going to say, sell all my stocks, sell my house, sell everything that's in U.S. dollars, get my money out of the bank. You saw it with Credit Suisse when the Saudi Arabia king sold his $10 billion and got it out of Credit Suisse. And what happened? The bank went bankrupt because they didn't have the $10 billion laying around. And that's what's going to happen. So they're going to pull their money. So banks go out, stock market's going to go out, and we'll be sitting in gold. And the only place, so what do you do with $275 trillion that you've just pulled back to your country? Well, you don't trust your country. That's why you're in U.S. dollars. So your only trust is, oh shit, we better buy gold and we better buy silver. And there's not a lot of gold out because the central banks have bought it out, and us have bought. They buy tons, and they buy 50 tons of it, which is 32,000 ounces to a ton. We go to the store and give me 5 ounces, give me 2 ounces, give me a quarter ounce. So we're buying little stuff, but it all adds up. So that's what it'll do. So they'll have the money and they'll buy gold that they can find and it's going to be more and more expensive because more and more demand. If there's 100 people that want a 50 count card, get the price goes up, right? Because there's more wait, there's 100 buyers, there's only 50 cards. So as they get sold, the other people want it, they bid it. I'll pay more for it. I'll pay $6,000 for it. I'm going to pay $7,000 for it. There's only 50. It's Mahomes. And there's there's more buyers. I'll pay $8,000 for it. So that's what you're going to have with gold. You're going to have people willing to buy it higher because they don't have it. When I go to the store, I don't care what the price is. I mean, I know it's going to be around 2,200 now. But before it was selling at 1,700, 1,800, I could buy it at, and I'd buy as much as I can, 4 or 5 ounces. But all I cared about was not what I paid for it, was that I had it. Oh, good. I've got 4 ounces of gold. Okay, good. That's all I cared about, not what I paid for it. And I'm not income averaging it because it's not a stock. It's nowhere near where it's headed. And this is the fatal problem a lot of people are doing. They've never seen it this high, so they're selling. And again, if you sell your gold, you're getting this. What are we doing? We're getting out of this to buy the gold because this is worthless. So why would you sell your gold to get this? Only because you don't think it's going any higher. Well, that's because you don't know. And whoever you're listening to doesn't know. So if you're listening to a financial advisor who doesn't understand gold, and most of them don't, they're going to say, yeah, it's the all-time high. Why don't you sell it and buy stocks or buy Bitcoin or, whatever the Madoff that you talk to. And that's really the problem. So you don't really want to go there with it. Because you are now skilled in this and you have the background and you have the understanding, then you go and you say, aha, no. This is a $20,000 an ounce coin that I'm getting for 2,000. Oh, how can you get a $20,000 ounce of gold for 2,000? Because it's been held down by J.P. Morgan, derivatives. It's paper gold. It's not physical. So they're keeping the price down on purpose. So you stay on the Titanic, not get into the gold. And that's what's happening. So you can answer that question because you say it's not free market. I've talked to people in the hot tub and they'll go, well, it's supply and demand. It is not supply and demand at all. There is no supply and demand in the gold price right now. Maybe in the Bitcoin price, but not in the gold price. It is clearly not supply and demand. It's price fixed down by JP Morgan in London. They're keeping the price down so you stay in the dollar. Because they know if gold really hit 20,000 an ounce now, it would be panic. Nobody would keep their money in Wall Street or the banks, and they'd all collapse because they're Ponzi schemes. And then, here goes gold at 20,000. So they got to keep it down. Otherwise, they're worried about this panic, or probably the people at the top don't have gold, I assume. I know Buffett does not have gold and Gates doesn't have gold. I don't know about Biden and these other guys, how much gold they have. I doubt they're smart enough to have it. And when you're sitting on $5 million, you're not really worried about it, right? That's the false sense of security. Well, I got $5 million. I can retire. It's in what? It's in dollars. Oh, that's going to be worth zero very, very soon. But they can't connect the dots that the dollar is going to go to zero. Why is it going to go to zero, Howard? Because you've got $20 trillion out there. And what happens when you mass produce something? It has no value. And nobody will want it. And that's why you got all of these de-dollarization and all the central banks buying gold. So there's your proof. Well, geez, every central bank in the world is buying gold. And there's 20 trillion printed. There's 300 trillion around the world. Yeah, I guess that's probably why, right? That's what's happening is that's what you're printing. So it becomes very obvious to you that it's going out, because if you understand anything about supply demand, the more the supply, the less. So there's supply here, and then there's demand, right? So if the supply equals the demand, then the price is good. But if the supply's up here and the demand's down here, then the price drops because it goes down to demand. So if you've printed so many dollars, and as Eon tells us yesterday, 99% of it's worthless. He made a comment. I don't know if we caught it. $100 bill is worth what a $20 bill was in 1971. So you think you got $100, but try to spend it. It's not, it doesn't buy anything. And that's really what the inflation is you got 100, you think it's worth something, and it's really not worth a lot. So that's the key. People charging the same amount don't understand what they're doing. They're losing money. People that are charging 100, it's really they're only charging 20 or 30, and they don't get it. But that's the point. So the dollar's losing value. So we're getting out of it now, and you can see why, and you can explain it. Well, it's just they printed too much, and everybody's getting out, and the banks, central banks are buying gold hand over fist, and then it's easy to explain, or it's easy for you to understand it. So you've looked at the pieces, overprinting, central banks buying, so there's demand. We're buying it, and the price isn't going up yet, but it's going up a little, and then off we go. And that's really the key to it, right? So if you can think like that, you go, oh, I just want to own ounces. So you go buy ounces, you don't care. So let's see what an ounce is going for now. So it's 21.78. And if we go to our little eBay watch list, so in eBay, so you could get a Cougar in is 22.56, an Eagle's 22.56. A half ounce is 11.97, and a quarter ounce is 6.17. So it's still very affordable. I buy a lot of quarter ounces. So here's another Eagle for 22.70 and a Maple Leaf 22.54. So they're still relatively reasonable price. Here's a silver $33 for just the silver round that I show you. So they're still affordable. Hey, Greg and John. Now my screen's still black, but I can see on my phone it's there, but I need my phone to show you stuff. And it's easier on a bigger screen. So I don't know what is causing this black screen that I'm looking at versus what you're looking at is me, and I can see it on my phone. I go onto YouTube and I can see I'm teaching, I can see myself. So I know you're getting the view. It's just I'm not. So that's okay. I don't really need to see myself, but it's when I show you this, I can see the lens. So I'm hoping it's okay. Or the problem is if I show you a Mark McGuire or an Egon, I got to get it in the right spot. Anyway, no, the front cameras were, well, this is the what do you call it? This is the this camera is for the laptop. So it's working fine because, like I said, if I go into my YouTube on my phone, I see myself. It's only black on my laptop, and it's never been black before. This is really weird. So I agree with you. It's some setting, but I tried Googling it, and I can't really get anything. And then it's kind of hard to get help. It's like, where do I go? And it's very confusing for me anyway. Like when I got my strike, I went and tried to find help to say, what did I say? And I couldn't get anywhere. Although I did find a help on Google, so I'll have to look for that. But since I did it so late yesterday, I was too tired. Anyway, so the point is that you don't want to rely on other people to make money investments for yourself. And I'll hear these commercials like retirement planning. Retirement planning is about buying gold, period. That's all you need to know. You buy gold, you can retire very easily. You don't have to worry about anything, right? There's no taxes. There's no dividends to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. Gold will go up far more than the dividend. Like there's no interest on gold or no dividends. You're not in it for the 3% dividend. This is not a stock. This is money. This is an asset. This is a Rolex. Think of this as a Rolex, but it goes up in value and it's money. So you can use it to buy things, which you can't with the Rolex. So keep that in mind. Is there a front camera? No, not on here. So keep that in mind. You're buying this kind of for protection, also to make money because it's been held down. And the demand for gold is going to push the price way up, as I've been telling you with the Mahomes card. So if Mahomes card's gold, there's only 50 of them. Well, the price is going to go up because the demand is going to push it up. And the same thing with gold. Once everybody realizes their dollars are worthless, they buy gold. I heard yesterday from Egon, Germany is the leading country, which we understand why, because in the 20s, they had the hyperinflation and their dollars, they needed wheelbarrows, were worthless. So with that said, they all know about gold. So that's not a surprise. Some of these other countries probably don't. Why the euro and Switzerland and Britain are fooled by their dollars not being backed by gold, I can't imagine. I don't understand why the euro and Swiss are not backed by gold. That blows my mind. That makes no sense at all. They've lived through it. If anybody knows about banking, it's Switzerland. Why would they not back their dollar by gold? And our only answer is George Soros is controlling everything, and he's getting old, so that's a good sign. So with that said, you're the one making your own decisions. And that's where you must have it. The woke try to tell you what to do. And the schooling's terrible, and the inflation, everything is not good. And so you've got to be careful. You can see what they do. They do a lot of damage, and they try to keep you out of it and everything else. So you've got to take charge and be in control, but you got to listen to yourself. You don't want to listen to other people. So that's kind of where you're at. So anyway, the key's understanding, the key's asking questions. So if you go to a financial planner, and I don't know why you would know, but if you did, you would ask them, listen to his spiel, and then you ask him about what do you think about gold? Should I buy gold? And let him answer, and he'll disqualify himself. Oh no, you don't want gold. Then you get up and leave. You're wasting your time. You're just being vampired. And so you need to do that with a lot of things. So if we take this to girls, it's the same thing. The reason you're asking about gold is the trust. Can you trust the guy? Because this is your money. You don't want to be attacked on Wall Street and lose your 60 grand. So then you go. So now you're trying to date, or even with just friends, right? Let's just say it's a friend, and you talk to them, and then you test them, right? So if you like a girl, you would test them. Let's meet here, or what do you think of this, or what do you think of that? And she's going to test you. Can you pick me up? Can you take me to the airport? She'll give you a favor to do. Go into the mall, oh, I need $10. So they're testing you to see if that's okay. But you're testing them also with like the gold question. Like, what do you think of gold? So you have some question you ask them, to get, and you might ask them the same thing. What do you think of gold? And see if she knows anything. Although most of them don't, they don't get into economics, but you might bring up something else. What'd you have for dinner? What do you like for dinner? And then see if you have something in common. You want things in common. You want to be open to talk about. You really want to get to the public life and then the private life with them. So the public life is just, what you show at work or what you show in school. The private life is what you only show your friends. And that's, oh, I like this. And I like, I eat steaks. You might not say that in public, but in private, we're going to do this. We'll go, this is what I like. I bet football. I play poker. That might be a private thing. And then you get the reaction from them. Do you like to go to the casino? Do you like to bet? Or do you like to smoke or drink? You try to get those answers. And then you're both weighing that out. No, I did that with Daria. She quit drinking. She says, do you drink? I says, no. And then I asked her, does she smoke? She says, well, I do, but I'm trying to quit. And she asked me, and I said, no, I don't smoke. So she liked that, but that's the private part of it. People don't know if I smoke or not, but she asked me privately, do you? And I said, no. She's trying to quit. And I hope she does, because you're just really inhaling poison, and, it's not good. So I don't like her to do that, but it's not up to me to stop her. But you got to be careful with it. But I know it's bad for her. Anyway, so that's where you're at with it. So you're asking those private questions with her, and then you keep going. And maybe you ask a private question, you don't like it. Oh, I don't eat meat. Well, I do eat meat. Now you got to face, do I want to date a girl who doesn't eat meat? Because then you go to the grocery store and it's all a bunch of different things. So that becomes a little bit different. When I meet Jenna, we like similar things. She knows I like meat and chicken, so she'll find a restaurant where I can get a steak or a hamburger, or we did go to Chinese and stuff like that. So she goes somewhere that she'll like the food, but also for me. We once went to like this veggie place, and I got a mushroom burger, but I thought it was like a burger with mushrooms on it, not that it was mushrooms. Who calls a burger a mushroom burger? So I didn't like it because I thought I was eating a hamburger. But we're pretty good about it. But most of the stuff we agree on, and that's what I'm hoping with Daria, that it seems like we're very compatible. So that's really what you're trying to test, right? With people, you're trying to, or your financial advisor, the teachers, anybody that you're relying on, baseball coaches, right? How do you coach? They like the way I was my daughter's fast pitch softball. I did the slow pitch, and then when they got older, it was fast pitch, and I was really aggressive, like, because I could read the play. So if the base hit and my daughter's on second, I'd send her home, and they like that. They say, "Oh, I like that. You're aggressive," and I go, "Well, I'm just trying to be smart." So that's what you're trying to do is learn as much as you can. And if you can't learn it, you find somebody who can help you. And then you have questions that you ask them. So if you go to you need a mortgage, you go to the bank. Can you trust them? It's pretty simple. An investment guy, the question is, what do you think of gold? And if they don't understand gold's money and gold's limited and you can't print it, and they don't understand the dollar is printed to death and it's worthless, why keep having a conversation with them? All right. So that is that. Uh, let's use this in football. So it's the same thing. How do you learn football betting? How can you learn it? And it's a similar thing with the teams are the dollars. It's more of a trust issue. So what we're talking, let's go through the league. And again, it's the same situation. So if we go through the NFL, so if we go down the list, this is why we go to quarterback. It's a trust issue. Who do we trust? And if we're looking at, I'm just going to go down the schedule for week 17. So the Jets played Cleveland. Who do we trust? It was Simeon, but if it's Aaron Rodgers, we trust Aaron Rodgers. So you would bet the quarterback. That's why I bring it up. And then they have a killer defense. Cleveland had Flacco. So Cleveland was a 7-point favorite. I like Cleveland in the game because of their defense, and I don't like Trevor Simeon. And Cleveland won 37-20. The defenses were both 24-25s. I have the game over 35, which works. So I hit the over and I hit Cleveland. But I trusted Flacco more than I trusted Simeon. If it was Rodgers against Thompson Robinson or against Watson, I would have bet Rodgers as the dog. So how do you trust the team? Well, this is what I'm trying to show you. Basically, it's what I've been teaching, but looking at it from a little bit different angle. So do we trust? We trust the team. What do we trust on the team? The coach, the quarterback, and the defense, and a little bit adding the running back to it. So Kansas City, you got Andy Reid. He's okay as a coach. But Mahomes is the key. And then they got Pacheco. And then they got the defense. So you're looking at all that. And that's really the key to the trust factor. To the trust factor. Very good. I'm still on. To the trust factor. To the trust factor. Okay, I look fine. So I can't see this. This is the problem. But I'm fine. I can't see. Okay. So it's a little bit of a thing, but it's the live broadcast. So basically, it's a trust factor with your financial planner or do we trust gold? Do we trust silver? Do we trust the dollar? So if we look at everything on a trust issue, we don't trust the dollar because they've overprinted it. But yet I don't think people understand the correlation. Oh, they printed a lot. Well, yeah, but it's the dollar. Who cares if they print a lot? They don't get that. Or gold's limited. They don't get that gold being limited is a really good thing. and then trusting your financial, or trusting your wife or your girlfriend, or your spouse, whatever you want to call it. Can you trust them? So you kind of, it's a little test. How do they act? How do they treat you? Things like that. How comfortable are you with them? So then we get, so that was Cleveland and the Jets. So now we get Detroit and Dallas. And here's where you can look at the trends a little. Dallas is 13-1 as a home favorite. Can we trust the numbers? Yeah, we could. Dallas is a 5-point favorite. It's Goff against Prescott. Detroit's got a weak defense, so we don't trust their defense. We trust Goff, and we trusted St. John's. Prescott, we don't trust. We didn't like Pollard, but we liked CeeDee Lamb. So it became Prescott choking and Goff choking. So it was kind of an even game. I did take Dallas even, or I had +1. Why I don't trust him? He should have lit him up. Look at the Niners put up 34. The Rams and the Tampa Bay put up 23 in the playoff game, and yet Dallas in a must-win game only puts up 20. That's Dak Prescott. That's why I don't trust him. Goff also threw 2 interceptions. That's why I don't trust him. So you don't have that big trust for them. The last game was Buffalo and New England. And New England, Zappy, I trusted more than Jones. And then Buffalo, Allen, I trusted more at home. And in this type of game, I thought he would do well. They were laying 14 points. I played the game over because Buffalo scores a lot, but doesn't have a great defense. And Buffalo won 27-21. So they didn't, the 14 was too high. I didn't trust their defense. And I was a little bit afraid of Zappy. And Zappy did score. I mean, it was 27-21. And both teams had a pretty good defense. But because it was only a 40, I went over. I says, well, Buffalo's going to score. And so it was a 48. It was 27-21. But because the number was only 40, I trusted they'd score 34 points. Atlanta, Chicago, Heineken against Fields. I don't trust either quarterback. Chicago doesn't have a running back. Atlanta's got good running backs. Atlanta doesn't have much of a receiver. Chicago's got that one guy, CJ Moore, whatever. And then defensively, Chicago was playing very good with an 18 defense. And Atlanta's was like a 20 defense. So I played this game over again because the over-under was 37. All I needed was 31. And I said, well, I know I'm going to get that with Fields. I don't trust him, but he's going to throw interceptions, but they tend to score a lot. So they won 37-17. I didn't trust the points. They were laying 2.5. I didn't trust them to win, but I didn't trust Atlanta at 8.5. So the only out was playing the game over 40.5, only because it was such a low number at 34. And so therefore I was able to win with the Bears over. So a lot of it is the spread they give you. Like in the Buffalo game was 14 was too much. If it was 7, I would have done 1. That maybe would have been a lot. But at 14, I can't lay 8 in the pros. And as it turned out, they won by 6. But I can tell you if I'm going to get points or not. Oakland and Indy. Oakland, a strong under team. Indy is an even team, an E team. I picked 23-20. Indy was 3.5. You have O'Connell against Minshew, and Oakland is 10-1 as a road dog. But they're 10-1 as a road dog, but can we trust O'Connell? Which we can't. But do we trust Minshew a little bit more? I love the under. It was a lock. It was 44. So I locked it under 50. And Indy won 23-20. So I couldn't really trust Indy to win, but I couldn't bet O'Connell. And the defense of Oakland's like a 16, and Indy's was a 22. But I knew O'Connell wasn't going to hurt Indy because the defense is so low. So it ended up being an easy under game because the quarterbacks were kind of weak and the defense for Oakland was so strong. And that's exactly what happened, 23-20 Indy wins. The Rams and the Giants, Stafford against, it ended up being Taylor. LA was lane 6. I thought LA would win because they had to win for the playoffs. They won 26-25. So I remember sweating this game out. This was a lock. I had it even, trusting Stafford. I thought it was going to be Danny DeVito, but they came out with Taylor at the end. And the Rams 22 defense, the Giants 25. So it ended up being LA wins 26-25. The Giants were terrible, but Taylor comes out and it was, they get 25 points. They should have won. I saw the 2-point conversion was wide open, and Taylor threw it into the ground. Otherwise, I don't know if I lose, then the Rams got to come down and kick a field goal to win. So I might have got that. But anyway, I trusted Stafford, but not Taylor. Arizona, Philly, Murray against Hurts. I don't trust Hurts. I don't trust their defense. So I locked this game over 48. So all I needed was 42. The Arizona comes from behind and wins 35-31. So Murray did his part, scoring 35. Hurts got 31. Arizona, they both had weak defenses, 28-27. So I can't trust their defense, but I can trust it in an over. And I trust Murray and Hurts are decent quarterbacks. But as you can see, so Murray gets the win. I didn't trust him as a dog, but I trusted him that he'd score a lot of points, which he did. So now it's what do I trust in the game? New Orleans and Tampa, New Orleans and under, Tampa and even. Carr against Mayfield. I kind of trust both quarterbacks, kind of, not really strong, but kind of. The better defense is New Orleans, 21-23. I picked Tampa 24-23, so I'm taking New Orleans as a dog, and they win 23-13 as the dog. So it all makes sense. The over-under was 42. I didn't know what to do with it. I circled over. I didn't bet it, and it was a 36. So it would have pushed on the over because I don't know what I'm getting. Mayfield, I don't trust, and Carr has Olave and Kamara, and they, wasn't a big win, but it was 23. Both had pretty decent defenses. So it was a very confusing game, which way to trust on it. Frisco, Washington. This game I locked over instead of Frisco because the spread was 14. I figured it's a high score. It's a high line. Frisco, I trust. You got Purdy. I don't like Shanahan. You got a good defense. Washington's terrible. They're a Z team. So I'm really betting against the Z team, but at 14 is such a high number. So I played it over 49. So I needed 43. I had the game won. It was 27-10, 37. Frisco had the ball at the 1-yard line, 3rd and goal with 5 minutes left in the game. So just get the touchdown. And they didn't. Washington played defense and they didn't score. And they went on 4th and didn't score. So a game that I probably should have won 34-10, I lose 27-10. But I had it figured that Washington wouldn't do anything. They had Thurston Howell, the third, a quarterback. They get 10 points on that defense. I expected a 40-14. I expected Purdy to light up Washington's weak defense, and he didn't do it. He got 27, but I expected somewhere in the 40s. I had 40-14, so I got the 10 from Washington. But I only got 27 from the Niners. The week before, I think Dallas put up 35 on them. So I thought, okay, Frisco needed the game for the 1 seed. So I was a little surprised there. Jacksonville, Carolina. You have Steve Young, who's terrible, and Lawrence was out, so there was Beathard. And I did play Jacksonville because I was playing against Carolina and Young, the Z team. Jacksonville was at home. They won 26-0. I liked the under, but I liked Jacksonville even better. I wasn't afraid of Beathard, but Young stinks. So we went with Jacksonville there. But you can see the rhyme and the reason and the trust. We don't really trust the quarterback, but we can't trust Carolina to do anything. Terrible coach, terrible quarterback, terrible defense. And so actually the spread went to 3.5 when Lawrence wasn't playing. So we're getting 2.5 in Jacksonville against Carolina. That was a joke. So, you got to look at the whole. That's why you look for the bad teams, right? Miami and Baltimore. Um, I don't like Tag. I don't trust him. I don't trust Lamar, but I do trust Lamar in these type of games. I trust that he's going to score a lot because when I look at Miami, they don't have a defense. So the spread was 3, and I don't really play it. I do circle Baltimore, but my lock was over in this game. So I said 46. All I need is 40. Well, I know Miami scores a lot, and I know Baltimore was really scoring a lot. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go. All I need is 40. So because the low number, I locked it at 40. I could trust Lamar in this type of game against a weak defense. That's when you trust him. Against the Kansas City defense or a Niner defense, you can't trust him. But in here, and he did beat the Niners. But in this situation, this is a game they needed for the 1 seed, I believe, and they won 56-14 over Tag. This is why you don't trust Tag. He doesn't show up in these games, and Lamar will show up against a weak defense that he had. Miami had a 23 defense, so I knew he was going to score 30. I could have played Baltimore in 2.5, but the over was much better because Miami scores a lot with no defense. Baltimore scores a lot with a pretty good defense. So I knew Miami was going to score a little. And so I had 34-16. It came in 56-14. That was pretty close calling Miami getting me 14 points and Baltimore got 35. Well, they got 56, but still, that was the idea of the game. That's when you trust Lamar, not to win, but to score against the bad defense, which is why we look at the defenses. So when we get a weak defense like Miami, like San Diego, like Detroit, then we can either bet Lamar or bet it over. So if it's a team that scores a lot, like Cincinnati, you're going to go over with Burrow against Lamar. Those are pretty much over games. Burrow will pick them apart. Tennessee, Houston. These are very confusing teams. Tennessee with Levis. I don't trust him. I don't know who he is, where he is, what he is. Houston, you got Stroud. I don't know him. All I know is from Ohio State, from the Michigan games, and he sucked. Either of them to just who's going to win the game. The spread was 4.5. Both defenses were 24. I circled the under, and that was it. Houston wins 26-3 at home. So Levis chokes. Stroud looks good against the weak Tennessee defense. So can you take that, oh, he's great? No, you can't, but you can say he did good at home against a weak team. Pittsburgh, Seattle, it's Rudolph against Geno Smith. Don't really trust either of them. Smith's just a backup. And Seattle was 3.5. And I like Pittsburgh as the dog because Seattle scores, but their defense wasn't good. And Pitt with the good defense with Rudolph, I thought was okay. Seattle was a 9-1 play against home favorite. And so the play there was Pittsburgh. They did win 30-23. A strong dog. Rudolph was okay. I didn't trust him, but he was not bad. Pickett, I might have trusted in this situation to keep the game close. Smith, you just don't trust. He's not good, so he's not going to blow out a Pitt defense, 23. But because I can't trust Stick, I can't bet it. And I can't trust Stidham to do anything. So Denver does win 16-9 with Stidham. Cincinnati, KC, Browning against Mahomes. We love Mahomes. We lock the under in the game. Interesting. Why did we do that? KC was 6-44. We got the number 1 defense, Kansas City, an 18 defense against Cincinnati, a 25 defense, but we don't have Joe Burrow. If we have Joe Burrow, this is a locked underdog, right? I'd take Cincy in 12 with Joe Burrow. I did in the playoff game the year before when Mahomes had the tweaked ankle and Burrow was playing, and that was the game that should have went to overtime. And KC won by 3, and we had Cincinnati in 9. Anytime Burrow is a dog is like anytime Mahomes is a dog. You bet them, especially against each other. So anyway, we got KC wins 25-17 of 42. The total was 44. We went under. We locked it under 50. We trusted the Kansas City defense, and we trusted Browning wasn't going to do anything because it wasn't Burrow. And as we see, he put up 17 points, Mahomes the 25. They haven't been lighting it up, Kansas City. They've been ball controlling it, and that's exactly what they did. They got a lead. They sat on it. They didn't look to score more, and Browning wasn't going to score on KC. So as good as KC is, and they're the A team, and they're the best, they got a great defense. So you play to the team, and that's why you go under. So you trusted the defense to go under, and that's what happened. And the last game was Green Bay, Minnesota. Love against Hall. So Cousins was hurt. Mullins was hurt. We got Hall. Minnesota was 1.5-point favorite. Big bet on Green Bay as a dog. Love's been playing better. We sort of trust the offense as well as Love. And there's Hall, which we don't trust. And Green Bay wins 33-10. We don't really fuck around with the over-under because we don't know what to do with Hall, and we really don't know what to do with Love. As it turns out, it goes over 44. It's a 43, but in teaser world, it works. So that's each team, right? That's week 17. I went 12-1 that week. I had good matchups. I had better numbers, like the Bear game. I got a 37. I got a 40 in Buffalo, New England. I mean, these are a joke. So they're very easy, with the Bears with Fields. Now this is my point. And now with Field, I know he scores a lot and kind of a weak defense. The defense got better. The defense ended up being an 18. That's why I look at the last 6 or 7 weeks once I get into the meat of this. Like the first 3 or 4 weeks you throw out. So really, when you hit week 12, you go back like the last 7, and you've got, those first few weeks, the kinks out. And anyway, so it was a very strong play. But that's so it's all the trust. Well, we're not going to play Tennessee because we don't trust Levis, or stick against Stidham. We don't trust either. Browning and Mahomes, we trust Mahomes. We don't trust Browning. Love and Hall. How much do we trust Love? Although we're starting to trust him more. How do we trust Hall? I've never heard of the guy. Well, he's on BYU, but a big difference. A fake sneeze. You wanted to sneeze, it just didn't. So you're looking for different reasons to trust it. Is it Mahomes? Is it Burrow? Is it the defense? Is it the running attack? Or it works in reverse. Dallas, Detroit, we don't trust Prescott, so we don't bet them. They're laying 5. I think we actually did bet them. But we didn't trust Prescott, so we don't lock the game. I'm more apt to lock Mahomes. I trust him, or Burrow, but I don't trust Prescott, and he only scored 20 against the weak. I mean, he looked terrible in the game, and why? It was, and then the bullshit at the end. The guy didn't report. All I know is the wrong number went to the ref, or the right number went to the ref and didn't report, or there was all sorts of things going on. But the ref told Dallas it was number 70 and number 68 caught the ball. So there was confusion with the ref, I guess, or who knows. But the guy should have made sure the ref got it. It's me, number whatever. Number 52, I'm eligible. The other guy should not have went up to the ref. you're trying to confuse Dallas. The ref's going to tell Dallas who the guy is. So why? What kind of confusion? So again, that's why I don't like the Lions coach. I don't like golf. I like St. Cloud, and their defense is terrible. So they're an over team, right? Golf does enough, but he's not going to win the game, which he didn't. It was 20. They scored late to go 20-19. Where was that the whole game, though? So he doesn't show up. So then you look at O'Connell and Tyrod Taylor and Murray and Hurts, and then Carr and Mayfield and Purdy and Hall. So you're looking at the quarterback as, can you trust the team? You're looking at the investment advisor. Do you like gold? Do I trust the advisor? Does he like gold? If he's not honest with you and he wants the commission, you don't want anything to do. He's got to be honest with you. If you talk to, you're trying to, see about the girl you're dating or the girlfriend, or can you trust them? So you give them something, some sort of errand or something. Can you trust them? And they're going to do the same to you. Can you pick up, pick up steaks or pick up something, or, I got to work late. Can you make steaks? And when she comes home, the steaks are made and she likes them. So she's trusting. So it's, can I trust them? And that's what it is. Like I said, I make a trip with Jenna, and she gets the ticket, and I give her money for the train or the car, and then the plane, and then I give her, she can taxi from the airport. So I give her all that. She knows I'm going to help her, and I do. And then I know she's going to be there. I'm not worried that she's not going to show. So that's so we trust each other. We're comfortable together, and we trust each other. And that's what I'm trying to do with Daria. Although I believe we trust each other. So I gave her a test, Daria, and I said to her, well, when we go to Serbia, let's buy your daughter a nice gift because she's not coming. And she said, oh, okay, sounds like a good idea. Well, that was a test. She didn't say, well, if we go. She said, oh, no, that's good. Okay, we'll do that. And she likes Serbia. Her question is, am I going to be safe because I'm a Russian? And I told her, well, just don't wear a T-shirt that says I'm from Russia. Right? That's really the key to it. Don't wear that. So I said, I'll do the talking. You'll be fine. I'm not going to, you're not going to get hurt. And again, but you don't go looking for trouble. You don't go, when I go to Detroit, I go to MGM. It's a very dangerous neighborhood around there. So I don't look for trouble. I get right back on the highway and come back home. I don't drive around the area, but that's what you're looking. So don't wear a shirt that says I'm Russian. Nobody's going to know. You'll just be a girl, and I'll do the talking at restaurants. Because everybody will understand English, right? Because that's one of the things being the reserve currency in all these countries, except for Portugal. Sometimes most of them English. Go to a hotel; they pretty much all know English there, and because we got money, and we're going to be guests at the hotel or the restaurant. Because again, there'll be somebody who speaks English because we're eating there, because we can afford to eat there. So I was in Romania, and we're at this nice restaurant, and it was very cheap. The whole meal for me and Carmen and drinks and dessert was $40. And I said to them, man, this is great food. Why are you so cheap on it? And he said, because people here can't afford it. The Romanians are poor people, so I can't charge $70 for a steak like in the US. So I got to charge cheap. So we took advantage of it. But basically, that was the point of it. His market wouldn't allow it. but he spoke English and we ate there. So we took advantage of it. So everything's a trust issue. So those are what you look for in football. That's what you look for with a girl is you kind of give her something that you're trusting her with that really isn't a big deal, and then she comes through, and that's fine. So you can trust her. She can trust you. She'll give you things to do. Can you pick me up? Can buy me? I need a milk or something, and you pick it up. You're doing errands for each other, but that's part of the relationship, and that's where the trust comes in. We trust gold because you can't print it. We don't trust JP Morgan, but JP Morgan we know is doing the derivatives to keep the price down, but we don't trust the price. We know the price is much higher. We know it's incredibly limited supply, so we trust that. We don't trust Bitcoin because it's only good. It's not real money, and it's only good in the Bitcoin casino. We don't want it in the Bitcoin. We're not in Bitcoin casino, so we don't want it. If it goes up or not, we know gold's going to go through the moon. So we trust gold because we know it's good everywhere, and we got it in our hands, and you don't have Bitcoin in your hands. In poker, you're trusting your judgment. You're playing with the guy next to you. Okay, you're comfortable with them, but you don't know when to trust him. He puts out $60. So I'm at a 1-2 table, right? I play 300. So the normal bet, it's 1-2 pre-flop, and then you might come out with 10, 15, maybe $20. Maybe some of the tables might come out with $50, $60. But you learn to trust what the bet is. So if somebody bets 20, what does it mean? And is it consistent? And then you might bet $60 or $100, and then you got to know what that means. Is that a bluff? Does he have two pairs? Is he protecting? See, some of the big bets are, I got a pair of aces and there's two clubs out. I'm going to make a big bet to get you out so you can't catch your flush or your straight. So that is a strategic bet to get you out because I only have aces, and if the third club falls, I know I'm screwed. So you're looking at that. So that's what you're trusting is the tells. The bets are the tells. Like Teddy ABC, who eat the Oreo cookies and rounders, right? When if I was Matt Damon, I would never have told him his tell. I would just wait and watch his hand. And if he eats the Oreo, I fold. And unless I have the nuts, and if he doesn't eat the Oreo, I make a big bet if I have anything. And I know he's got nothing. Why would you tell him? I mean, and then all your friend Kanish and all those guys, or what's his name, Falcone, you could have told him his tell, and he could have cleaned up on him. So you should never have told him to tell. That movie is one of the worst movies I've ever seen from realistic. They get all, he says, well, he says, I got outplayed that hand. No, you didn't. It was a bad beat. You had a full house. He had a higher full house. That's a bad beat. That wasn't you didn't get outplayed. And he had his full house nines full of aces. The Teddy ABC had aces full of nines. You got a bad beat. You didn't. How did you get outplayed? You had a full house where you can fold it. So, he didn't even know that. He didn't even say that right. But anyway, it's all a trust. It's to test the person if you can trust them. There has to be a trust. Now, that gets you comfortable with the person. So if you're comfortable with them, like my friend Julia, I gave her the 10 ounces of silver, the head lifeguard at the pool where I swim. Now we're friends. I'm kind of comfortable with her, but I'm not really looking to go out with her per se because I've got Daria and Jenna, and I'm more focused on them. I don't want to hurt Julia. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm with Daria or I'm with Jenna. I don't want to hurt her, so I'm kind of keeping it as friends because I like her. Very pretty girl, and she understands gold and silver, so we're comfortable together. And then it's funny, she's telling me about like freeze dried meat or whatever. So if we run out of food, I'll at least have that. So I gave her 10 ounces of silver and no strings attached. Just here you go. Now you're protected when the money goes out. And she knows that. She's real excited with it. But now she can trust me because she says, well, I'll bring you some silver in. Probably thought, oh, really? Or you'll bring an ounce or two. I gave her 10 ounces in the white box. And so she can trust me. And we talk a little. She's busy trying to be a doctor or something. But I just kind of leave her alone. We say hi, we talk. Like yesterday, my other lifeguard friend, Chelsea, she just got married and she was all excited to see me because she got married and she's been doing other things. I haven't seen her at lifeguard for a while. So I said, hey, Chelsea. And she came over all excited to see me. So I wished her good luck on her. She got married and on the family and everything. So I forgot to call her. She says, call me after I was done swimming last night, but I did the show and so I couldn't. But basically, so those are my friends that are comfortable and we trust each other. She gave me some cherry things with my cough. I was telling her about it and she said, let me bring it over. And it's like this cherry, which is good for the gout. Anyway, it's really strong. So you mix it with water. You don't take it straight. But I mean, we trust each other. So if she needed something, she'd call me. She'd know I'd be there. Same with Julia. I don't even have Julia's number. I don't want to lead her on. I don't want to hurt her, but we are friends. We've always kind of been comfortable, kind of comfortable. But anyway, so that's the thing. Now, the guy in the locker room who's doing well with his financial planner, who I'm trying to say, but you're in dollars, you got to get out of dollars into gold, doesn't want to listen to me. He's not comfortable. And then the other guy I asked yesterday. So the story is I see the guy, and so we start talking, and I said something, I don't know, it ended up where I was trying to get into his financial, are you in gold? Not, I don't care what you're in, just do you have gold? And I says, why aren't you answering me? He says, well, I don't know you. So you're not comfortable with me and you don't trust me. Okay, so let's get comfortable. I'm here to help you. I says, I'm not here to be your friend. I don't want to be your friend. I'm here to help you. I'm here to educate you. You need to be educated. You need to be in gold because the dollar's going away, the big budget, brics, and everything else. And he got it. And then today when he saw me, I was going to the bikes and I didn't want to stop and talk to him because he was leaving and I was just getting there. I didn't, in the locker room's different. We're just getting dressed. So, but I saw him look at me, so he's more comfortable with me. But that's the understanding. So it depends what you're trying to do. If you're just minding your own business, you're not really trying to get comfortable and be friends. And a pretty girl and you're not with anybody, then you want to be comfortable with her. And you watch her body language. Does she react to you? Does she smile at you? You say, hi, I'm Howard, and see her response, and then off you go. You hope they say, oh, by the way, I'm married. Oh, well, that'd be nice to tell me. But that's really what you're looking is the trust factor. So if you find a girl like Daria, like Jenna, let's say, she trusts me, I trust her. Like I told her about gold. Now it's going up. She says, you're a smart man. I says, yes, I know. And then I says, don't sell it yet. It's going to go higher. Don't sell your gold. Don't sell your silver. So she trusts me to hold it for a while, that it's going to be worth more. And that's where we're at. But that's what you want. That's what you're looking for in a relationship is the trust issue. You'll be comfortable. It's not hard to get comfortable, but it is hard. Can you trust them or are they playing me? And that's what we talk about in Stoic all the time. The vampire, they just yap on and yap on. We don't want to talk. Um, but that's what the trust is. So you can see the trust. You have it in football. You have it with women. You have it with gold and money. You have it in the stock market. You have it with the banks. Do you trust the financial system? No. Do you trust the banks? Absolutely not. Do you trust the dollar? Absolutely not. And then how do we bet football next year? Well, college is going to be crazy because these quarterbacks switch teams. So you really got to look at the stats the first 3 or 4 weeks to really figure out who's good and who's not. In the pros, all right, we've got Burrow, we've got Mahomes, and we've got maybe Josh Allen in the beginning. And so we kind of go to the consistent teams and bet on them. And then it's how's Caleb and how's Bo Nix, how's Daniels. Drake May we will never trust. So that's the difference. He didn't do anything in college, Drake May. Why would we didn't trust him in college? All of a sudden we're going to trust him in pros. This is the problem I have with the draft. Caleb, I don't know that I trust. Bo Nix, I trust. Penix, I trust. Daniels, I trust. Right down the chute, you can trust these guys. I don't trust the Michigan quarterback. He never did anything. All they did was hand the ball off 50 times a game, and he missed some wide open receivers. He had a lucky play in the Ohio State game where the guy and hit the offensive guy. Didn't do anything in the playoff games. So basically, I don't trust him, but I trust Penix, and I trust Bo Nix, and I trust Daniels, and I trust Hartman. So the guys I trust, Caleb, I'm not sure if I trust because, again, it's that system, that the Oklahoma system that he's playing, that all the guys aren't any good. Murray and Hurts are okay, but you really don't trust them. So it becomes very, iffy with Caleb. I wouldn't make him my number one pick. I would make Penix or Daniels number one, or Bo Nix, actually. And I'd scoop up Hartman soon. But if you're going with J.J. McCarthy with the third or fourth pick, I heard Washington interviewed him. It doesn't mean anything. They just interviewed him. But this is what you got to stay away. This is how you lose. You trust somebody you shouldn't trust. He's got to prove it to you. So J.J. McCarthy goes to Washington. Okay, I don't think he'll do any better than Steve Young did on Carolina. So you just watch and see what he does. I think he'll do crap. He'll be a bet against, just like Will Levis. Where are you betting? Where's this guy being picked? What did he do at Kentucky? He wasn't anything. Hooker, who was a superstar at Tennessee, he's not playing, and you got Goff, who's the biggest joke in the world. So I can't trust Goff. I can only trust him over, because when he throws his interceptions, that'll lead to touchdowns the other way. And then he throws it to our team, the Lions, and not our team, not my team. They'll score. So they'll score a lot, and they have no defense. So Detroit, you can trust Goff on the over. So that's the other part then, is the over-under. So these new quarterback, Drake May comes in, and he goes to some crappy team. You bet him under, because you're going to get no points from Drake May, like you get no points from Steve Young, and then there's no defense, or then maybe there's a good defense or decent, but they're not going to get a lot of points. So when you're looking at a game to trust it, you go, am I going to get a lot of points or not, and who's my quarterback? So I either bet Mahomes to win, as we did in the Super Bowl, as we did against Baltimore. We didn't fuck with the over-under. We just said, take Mahomes as the dog. And that's fine. But in the other point, when do I play them over-under? Well, they're mostly an under team. So when they play another good defense, I could have played him under against Baltimore, but it was I trusted Mahomes to win the game more than I trusted it to be low scoring, which I love both ways. But that's what you're looking for. Joe Burrow, we trust. I think we can play Herbert. I think they're looking like an under team, especially if they draft a few Michigan defensive players, because they got rid of the wide receivers and they kept the defensive players. So they'll add some defense. They'll be like the 2013 Niners. There was this great defense in Garoppolo. So Herbert's much better. So we'll see what they do. But KC, they'll be an under team. They let that Snead go, cornerback. But believe me, if KC wanted him, they would have done what they did with Jones, the defensive end. They signed him because they couldn't replace him. But I guarantee you they have a cornerback for Snead who's better than Snead, who either got hurt or they're going to draft him. And that's why they didn't care that they lost him. They didn't want to pay him $19 million. And that's the thing with, like, I hear on the Detroit radio, oh, why didn't the Lions get him? Well, because they got to sign 2 offensive tackles in their center. They're going to have to sign their running back, the quarterback, St. Cloud, the receiver, and you got another tight end. And on defense, they can basically let everybody go but Hutchinson. There's nothing to re-sign. But they got to sign 3 offensive linemen, which is a wasted position, I feel. You don't want 2 tackles that are $20 million guys. You can't afford it. You need help on defense. So you've seen what you do with offense, got you to the championship game, but if you had a good defense, you would have won the championship game. You don't win with offense. That's why I don't see signing both your tackles and your center to these big contracts and signing your quarterback. Why would you sign Goff? He's not going to win for you. And, again, he won a lot against bad teams. What happened against Baltimore? What happened against Dallas? He lost to the Bears in Green Bay. What happened against the Niners? You had a 24-7 lead. Where did you disappear to in the second half? You didn't score till like a minute left, and you got a late touchdown. That's the problem with it. So you win with defense, and you've got Hooker. So instead of paying all this money to Goff, and what are you going to do with Hooker? Goff gets injured, and then you realize Hooker's the superstar that I'm telling you he is because of the Alabama game. Then now what are you going to do? You've already wasted your money on Goff. Goff's a proven loser. He's not a winner. He didn't do anything with the Rams. That was the running back, Todd Gurley. And then he didn't do anything in the Super Bowl. And then he's with the Lions. And, all right, he beats a lot of bad teams. And, again, it's the running. And, he's hitting St. Cloud, but that's about it. So I don't really see – let's see what Hooker looks like. Give him the same offense, and let's have Hooker throw the ball around, and it'll probably look better with Hooker because he's a better quarterback. So why pay Goff all that money when you got Hooker, who has proven it that we can trust him by beating Alabama 50-49, and he looked very good in that game. Yes, he hurt his knee, but now he should be recovered. The skill set's still there, even though he hurt the knee. He can throw the ball on a dime. Good eye. He can move a little bit. I expect he still can scramble a little. You don't want him scrambling too much. Anyway, that's what you look at. I think more teams should sign their coordinators. That's where you really get surprised. You're in like Miami or Florida. They had Van Dyke, and then on their one coordinator throws 40 touchdown passes, and they average 45 a game. And then they switched to the Michigan coordinator Gaddis, who was terrible, and it looked like it. So you can't blame Van Dyke when they had a terrible offensive coordinator. But these guys, they don't have continuity. They switch. That's why it's really hard to figure out. It takes at least 4 games in college, depending that they're not high school games, to really get a good firm. This is who I want it. This is who I can trust. I bet $500 I got to trust that my guy I'm betting on is not going to let me down. And that's really the problem with it. So you are looking at that. Anyway, anything else? Let's see what our paper gold's doing. Paper gold is 21.78. So it busts up to 21.99, then it busts down to 21.75, and then it just sits at 21.79. So there is demand, and again, house silver sits at 24.45 with all the demand is just a joke. And I guess they think we're a bunch of idiots that we don't know any better. But you can see gold, it's not supply and demand. Those are paper prices. We know the boat's sinking, and that's really what we have to trust. The boat is sinking. It hit the iceberg, the water's coming in, it's going to sink, and the only way is to get into the light boats, which is gold. So the question of when will it sink, we can't answer, but we know it is going to. We can say it's going to sink, and it won't be too much longer. And we can say the same with the dollar. We know this is going to zero because you can't have 20.7 trillion of this and think it has a value. Now, but we need competition, and that's where BRICS comes in. So when BRICS announces it in May, gold-backed currency has been green lighted for BRICS, probably for Russia, China too. Once that's established, or somehow they're using gold to help the currency, then the gold price goes to the moon, and then the dollar goes out because now we've got do I want gold or the dollar? See, we don't have that choice now. All these countries have to choose the dollar. So everybody talks about is the reserve currency. It can't go anywhere. It's what the oil, the petrodollar. Well, that's not there. Saudi takes dollars from anybody right now, and for their oil, they don't want U.S. dollars. They want an asset. They want gold-backed currency for their oil, and that's where they're headed. Russia and Saudi and Dubai have an asset of oil. They don't want dollars for it because they know it doesn't have value. They know there's 35 trillion in debt. They know there's 20.7 trillion printed. They know there's 300 trillion printed for the whole world. How the hell is that limited? How is it going to survive? It can't survive. So they know all this. So they want to get paid in an ass. They want to get paid in silver, not paper dollars that are worthless. And I understand that. So we can trust that. So we trust that the Titanic's going down and that gold is the answer. We trust that. We know that. We know the dollar's going out, Titanic, and we know gold, the gold lifeboat's where you go. So that is not an opinion. That is not maybe it'll happen. That is a sure thing. That's what's going to happen. And we know that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to take a picture of this screen. That's what I like about this. You can take pictures of the screen now. So I can walk into like Best Buy and say, this is my screen on my laptop. This is my screen on my phone. Why is my laptop black? And you can just show them. Much easier. Although when I Google it, I don't know what to call it. Why is my live webcam screen black? And I don't get any answers because it gets confused into using the camera to record it. The camera's working, but why is the screen black? So it becomes that type of an issue. Anyway, so again, it's all about trust, and then you're setting it up. So what I gotta, how do I trust Daria, right? So I've got to come up with ways that are, not hard. I'm not trying to fool her. I'm just trying to say, can you go get a go get a fruit from breakfast and bring it up, and then she'll go down and do it, and I know she will. She helped her friend move. She said, "I like helping people." I said, "So do I." So I think I don't think I'll have any issues there. Um, but that's what you do is you form the trust, and then it's like, okay, I know I can trust the person. That's why I get surprised when I don't hear from her. Like today, I didn't hear from her. What happened? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Jenna's in Berlin, going to this future museum or something. When I was there with her, I said, I don't want to go to museums. I don't need to see the Nazi museums. Here's how we went into Poland. I don't need to see all that. Not in Berlin, in other countries, maybe. Switzerland, yeah. Um, so what else? So that's really stoic. That's really people. It's at what point do you want to get with them? Like, do you really need a casual? Oh, how you doing? You meet a guy in the hot tub. How you doing? Now, I was a guy in the hot tub from New York, and his son wanted to be a pilot. So we're talking a little bit. He snow plows. That's his job. And so we're talking. We're friendly. How you? Yeah, I walk in. How you doing? He walks in. And then all of a sudden, he's on his. So one day I walk in. He's on his phone, and I say hi, and he doesn't say hi. He says, "Well, my son's taking this test to be a pilot or something, some airline test, and so I'm for him." Or now, and I'm like, and he didn't say hi to me. And so I said, "Okay, screw you. I'm not. I don't need a casual friend. Either you're a real friend or you're not." So now when I see him, I don't even recognize. I just walk. He goes, "Hi, Howard." I go, "No, you ignored me. That's not. That shows me your real character. You don't have time for me. You don't place me. You don't consider me. So no, you're not getting a hi back. You're not getting a friend. I'm not your friend." And really, we don't want those type of people. That's the problem. We don't want the hi, how are you people. We want the friends, the people that will come and talk to you and are happy to see you and make time for you. So when I see Julia walk by when she is working, then I make sure I say hi, and she always waves at me. She'll say, "I'm real busy right now with this, like spring break now." And I go, "I understand. I just wanted to say hi and make sure you knew I was here." And she said, "No, I agree." So we have that, but um, that's what you're looking for, I think, is people that you are comfortable with, that you can trust and tell things to. The other is just really bullshit. The people at work, do you care? I mean, it's all fluff. You're scared to tell them anything because they'll go to HR. I mean, it's so stupid right now. So there's really not, like, you don't really want work friends. Depending on what you do, you probably don't want work friends. You don't want casual friends. Maybe people at the poker table, and then you want to discuss poker with them. Okay. But it's hard. So there's like a handful of people that you want to discuss, and that's it. The rest are just vampires. They just say hi, talk about them. My mom was like that. She would talk. I don't know what she was saying. It was like I couldn't follow her. I didn't want to follow her, and that's, I think, our biggest problem is our families, because we're not choosing them, and so we get bad personality matches, and it's just like, forget about it. But when you meet your friends, it's got to be a mutual. They're happy to see you, and then you can talk about things. That's good, and and then it becomes the trust. So you're comfortable with these people to say hi, but then do you get to the next level of the trust? Can you trust them or not? And there's guys at the club I don't trust, so I don't even talk to. They'll say hi, and I go, no, you're not getting a hi from me. I seen your game, and you're not trustworthy. So you really just want to be with trustworthy people. There's a lot of life is about to have a good life. It's a trust thing. Uh, so like it goes, the money is the most important. You want to with the football. That's how you do it. Basketball, college basketball. Who do we trust? The games are what? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Who do we trust in the games? So I really need to look at that. But I don't know. I don't follow college basketball. It's too boring. But the playoffs, like I happen to get a great pick Saturday with North Carolina over Michigan State. That was such an easy game. And I got the right spread. The spread should have been 10. I'm laying 3.5. And I know Michigan State's not that good. They're a 9 seed. North Carolina's a 1 seed. Not that I'm in the seeds, but I know, okay, North Carolina's a good team. Michigan State, I know, is not good because I'm listening on the radio how they're bashing Michigan State. These are Michigan State guys. So I know they're not good. How are they going to beat North Carolina? And I'm laying 3.5. So that's why it was a lock. But, I don't know that I'll see something like that this weekend. Do I like Duke? Do I like Arizona? Do I like, Connecticut? I don't know. But you don't want to be influenced by these guys. Oh, Connecticut's the best team. Why? They got this guy like Purdue. Oh, they're a great team because they have the center. Okay, so what if they play a team that knows how to play a good center? And you can't look at them last week when they played a small team. That didn't prove anything. So you've got to then look at teams with how are they going to play when they play Connecticut? Are they going to be dominant? Probably not. Or Duke or North Carolina? Probably not. Purdue will choke because that's what they normally do. So you go from there. But it's a trust issue. That's why in baseball we go with Verlander. We trust him. And there's a guy in Miami, and there's a few other guy in Tampa Bay, McClanahan and Scherzer. That's why we go to the pitcher, just like we go to the quarterback. That's the key position. A good pitcher can no hit you, like Nolan Ryan, Bob Gibson, Koufax. Those guys you can't hit them. So it doesn't matter how good you're hitting. You're not hitting these guys. So that's why baseball is pitching, like football is the quarterback. The difference is baseball, they can only pitch 100 pitches. Oh, I heard the new rule in pro football. So one of them is the kickoff, the kickoffs. What the hell are they doing? So if I have this right, they kick from their own 35 and they can't run down and the other team can't run back. I don't know what, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I don't know what they're waiting for. And then the guy who's returning and they can't kick before the 20 or into the end zone. And they got it from the XFL. So now they're getting rules from the XFL for the safety of the game. I'm like, oh my God, this is absolutely horrible. So how is this going to affect the over-unders on the games? So you score, you kick off from the 35. Your guys can't run down, I guess, until he catches it between the 20 and the goal line, but not into the end zone. And he starts running, and then you can run, and you'll probably tackle him at the 35, which is that going to make more scoring? Not necessarily, because it all comes down to if you've got Jared Goff or Prescott, you're still not going to score. You just, instead of starting at the 25, you start at the 35. But I think I don't know why you're changing kickoffs. Oh, there's injuries. Yeah. How many guys get injured on the kickoff? A couple. I get it. But they get injured every play anyway. Maybe we should stop with the, running plays and, we probably shouldn't throw the ball deep because they're running real fast. They could get injured. It's insane. This safety bullshit. What do you mean safe? What do you mean safety? What is that? It's football. People get hurt in football. It's football. That's the problem of it. But the players understand that, or they don't sign up, and they're going to get hit. It's part of the game. I mean, I played like eighth and ninth grade. I got in the 10th grade was high school. Seventh, eighth, and ninth was junior high. There's some pretty big guys, so it was up to me. Do I want to play this or not? And I said, no, I don't want. I'm not going to get hurt. I play golf and baseball. I don't want anything to do with it. And I didn't. I just stayed away from it. I was a great receiver. I mean, I could catch everything, but I didn't want anything to do with it. And so I didn't play because I know there's going to be a hitting. But if I didn't care about that, I would have played knowing I'm going to get hurt. Knowing I'm getting hit, that's what you know when you're playing football. So I'm tired of this safety stuff. And that's just, it ruins the game. I don't know. So we'll have to see how that impacts, but I'll see it in my numbers. So if all of a sudden, like when I look at my numbers now, there's quite a few teams that don't score 20 points. So I think it's 4 some line. Are they all going to score over 25, 30, 35? Trying to do is increase scoring, but I don't know that it'll work. Look at college. I mean, Oregon, Washington, USC, Colorado, they score 40, 50 points a game. They didn't need to kick off any higher. Well, that's what I'm saying, Greg and John. I don't know if it'll make the games more high scoring. All it is, instead of starting at the 25, the real key is now you're going to have kickoff returns, right? And if the guys are just standing there after the kick and you kicked it to the goal line or the 5 or the 10, and the guy gets a running start, you're going to get a lot more kickoff returns. That's the real question. I don't think the position of the 35 helps as much as can the guys now is more of a premium on the kick returner being Gale Sayers. You're going to have a lot more touchdowns on the kickoff returns more than you get the ball at the 35 or the 40. I think it's a stupid rule. See, I don't like when you're away from something that's good. There's no problem. The game's bad enough with the instant replay. And then they took the hip tackle off. So you tackle them and you throw them over your hip. Well, you're taking everything else away. You can't tackle, or it's helmet to helmet, or illegal block, blindside block, all this crap. You can't hit the quarterback below the waist. I mean, it's insane. What are you doing to the game? Well, it's for the safety. No, then you're not going to have anybody watching it except for the people betting it. Are the only people watching it. It's crazy. Why they change rules? Well, it gives them something to do. It makes them important. Well, we better change the rules around. And they call it for safety, and it's really stupid. Lawrence Taylor could never play these days. No, he could still play. He was fast linebacker. He was good at rushing, so I don't think it would really have affected him. I mean, because the way he tackled, he didn't really tackle bad. He was just fast, and he'd wrap you up and tackle you. So, yeah, he'd play. Ronnie Lott would probably have a harder time because he'd have the big hits, and so they'd probably give him more of a problem. But Lawrence, I think, could play, I would say. But why do they change the rules? It's just to change them, to get talk in. Now, the kickoff rule is a 1-year trial. And I don't even know if it'll go a year. They'll probably start and see it's so stupid that people will not like it because it's like the electric car. There's no reason for it, right? Now, I was talking to the guy at the Chinese restaurant about gold, and we came to the conclusion about electric cars, where nobody really wants it. and there's no benefit to it. So you don't mind going from the horse and buggy to the car because now you don't need the horse, and you got, instead of a buggy, you got a car, and you just go fill it up with gas. So you don't need to feed the horse and clean the crap. And it was a benefit. And then it's like a computer is a benefit, a refrigerator is a benefit. But now you have electric car. There's no benefit to the electric car over the gas car, because now you got to stand in line to charge it. And if what really happened, what they wanted, and everybody had an electric car, the line to to charge your car would be huge. You'd be sitting there for hours to charge your car. Nobody would want it. Nobody's going to wait 4 hours to get, because the charge is going to take an hour or two. So you don't want to wait. Let's say it's 2 hours. Do you want to? So, and there's 3 people ahead of you. So that's 6 hours that you're going to wait, and then 2 hours to do. You're there 8 hours to charge your car. And then how long does the charge last? After a while, the charge doesn't last, and you end up with charging every day. So you got 8 hours to waste every day to charge your car. What's the benefit to that? Oh, in a gas powered car, I go to the gas station, it takes all of 5 minutes because they got 20 pumps. And maybe I'm waiting for one car. It takes me 3 minutes to fill my car, and it's full for a week. And I don't need, the oil and the gas doesn't really need to hold the charge. It just, you turn the key, I get the oil and the spark, and then you start. With an electric car, the battery, dies just like it does in your phone and your computer. And so you're going to do more and more, and the weight, and what's the benefit? What is the benefit of the electric car? Otherwise, and the only thing you're doing is getting rid of the gas for the electricity. The battery goes, you're screwed. If the battery catches on fire, you're dead. Real hot days, the car won't you start, and you can't have the electricity, you're dead. Real cold days, the battery freezes. There's a lot of problem. There's no benefit. It's not a benefit to get the electric car over the gas powered car. This is where you question Elon Musk being smart. He made this comment. I saw one of these YouTube things where he says, well, I came out with a spaceship or something, or a rocket to the moon, or whatever it was talking about. Yeah, does that work? I mean, so what? Does that, I don't know, we're all going to get on your rocket? I mean, that was a stupid comment, but that's the problem with the electric car. There's no benefit. It's not better than what we have. So why would we want to go to it? And that's really the problem. So keep that in mind. Do we trust the electric car, really? And the answer is no. I trust my Camry because I know when I put gas in it, I drive it for a week and a half, and I can see I get roughly 400 miles to the tank, and I can see when it's a quarter tank, and there's a gas station on every corner, and I know how much it costs, and there's no real wait for it. I go get it, boom, 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 and there's no wait for it. We're trying to find a charger, and then how long's the wait, and how expensive is it going to get? And the fact there's not enough electricity is even more, right? There's if everybody was using an electric car, there's not enough electrical grids and electricity to charge everybody's car and your house. Because don't forget, your house, the lights and everything's electric, and my fridge, my oven, my TV all runs on electricity. Well, there's not enough electricity to do all the cars and your houses. With gas, it's different. So it's a stupid idea. It's like Bitcoin. It's a stupid idea that really, I don't get it. I wouldn't buy stock in Tesla or any electric car, and I would never buy one. There's no point in it. Some people buy a hybrid where you can still fill it with gas. So basically, it's just a gas-powered car they bought that sometimes uses electricity. But I would say after a while, they're just filling it with gas, and off they go. All right, so I have to figure out why my screen is freaking black. It's really frustrating because it's been this way. Even when I did when I got my computer back Sunday, when I got my YouTube back, it was never. It came back fine. So I don't know what's really going on here. Why I don't have access to my thing or what I need to do to get it. Um, I might try it on my phone and see, but I don't want to do the show from my phone because there's things I need to show on the phone unless I use my computer to show you my, you know, alligator and egons and stuff. Suppose I could try that, but then I got to hold the phone here. I can relax and just I'm on the laptop. So not really sure. I could try resetting my back to original settings, but I'm going to try to. I don't know what to do. I'll try to get some help on YouTube or try to go to Best Buy or Target and try to figure that out. Anyway, I noticed Best Buy, they don't really want to help you. It's like, it's a big deal, but, I'll try to get a little bit of help if I can't try to figure it out. Yeah, I agree with you, Greg. I think it's a setting, but I don't know. Since I didn't turn a setting off, I don't know what setting to go to. You know, why is it a blank screen? I do see it says desk one up here. Let me go into some older ones. Let's go here. Hello, my Teaser King fan. Yeah. See, I only see me. I'm not seeing the bottom of the screen. Okay. All right. Anyway, any other questions? I'm glad I came on at a normaler time. Um, Yesterday was tough because I was done at 9:30. I was exhausted. Anyway, I'll study up on the college for Thursday, so that today's Tuesday, and that be it. So let me do that. And outside of that, everything's, I think, okay. The guy called me for, can I submit your resume yesterday? So he called me today. He says, I see you worked in Alabama for one of our sister companies. I go, yeah, but I don't put it on my resume because it's too, you know, basically nobody needs to know. It was a terrible experience that I really don't want to bring up. It doesn't do anything for me, but make it, why were you in Alabama for 6 months? Then you got to defend yourself, and it's kind of more of a negative. Didn't like it, didn't like the city, came back. Okay, what does that do for a job? Go look at my Mercedes. That's why I just kind of leave it blank. Anyway, so have a nice day. Here it's in the 50s. It's getting warm and sunny. Last Thursday it was like 6 inches of snow, and now it's back to 60 degrees and sunny. So I got chicken to cook, and I think that's about it. So have a nice day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. If for any reason I'm not here, I got another problem with YouTube or something, I will post something on teaserking.com. I did find another site that I can do this, or I think I have to look into the Twitter. I think you can do live shows there. So we'll stay here, but choose then we will go to there. So I'll keep everybody informed. Okay, everybody, have a nice day. www.teaserking.com, and I'll see you tomorrow. if you need me, go to the website. You'll get my email, and feel free to email me. I do get emails. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Feel good.